I was, just a lot of the things. Obviously, getting beat Friday night like we did, and then we definitely challenged the group. Had a pretty salty coach visiting with them in their film session, and we challenged them, and they definitely responded. And what I liked most was the adversity that we faced throughout that game, and in a variety of situations, whether it was losing players because of injury, having to kill off, taking 4 straight penalties in the first, and then having to kill off a 5-on-3, down by a goal in the third, and then going into overtime down 4-on-3 for about a minute something. So to handle all that, still be able to come through with a tie against a real good team was, definitely we grew as a group, but certainly there's still a long way to go. Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it. That's a great big part of just having that mentality that you're going to have that grit. You're going to that's part of it. Then we just pointed out some things that they were doing that, again, we challenged them to, they're talented. They can get up in the face of the opponents rather than backing off and letting them come at them with speed. So, it's a combination of both of those things. Definitely having that mentality, having that chip on your shoulder, and we talked about, as a group, I reminded them that they don't want to suffer a loss like they did on Friday and just think that that's acceptable. And I reminded them of that, and that's where I really give them credit, because they're the ones that have to go out there and respond. And I thought they did a really good job of that. Well, I think what we just talked about is a real big piece of it, just having that mentality that we're one knowing that we can beat anybody we play, and going into every series believing that we can do that. And then we have to play our game. We have to play to our identity. We can't. We're obviously playing a tremendous opponent this weekend. It's got a lot of skill, and if we think we can just go play loosey-goosey and run and gun against that team, then we're expecting a lot out of our goalie. We need to play. We need to play really. We need to be a hard team to play against. We need to make sure that there's no easy ice for our opponents, and this weekend's going to be a great challenge. Obviously, we're not going to be as good at that particular part of our game as we will as later on in the season, but this will be a great test for some of our younger players, but really for the whole team again, because we're going against an outstanding opponent in their building, and again just reinforcing how we need to play in order to give ourselves a chance. And Friday will be our first opportunity to go do that. Yeah, they're loaded. They have their top scoring line from last year that were all seniors are out. They all took that 5th year, so they're all back, and then they get Zumwinkle and Murphy from the U.S. Olympic team, and they got a veteran team. I don't know if any of their true freshmen how much they'll play. I know they do have some Europeans that some really, really outstanding, one Finnish player, a Swedish player that I know have played. So, but it's going to be a veteran group that they're again really, really talented. That reigning Patty Kazmaier winners is on that team. So, solid defense, really good goaltending. It's going to be a challenge.
I know a lot of our girls like to stay on the ice quite a bit. I kind of usually like to take my summers to just take some time away from the rink. Obviously, I skate here and there, but definitely not as much as in season. I think for me, my off season is more just in the weight room, working on like flexibility, strength, speed, stuff like that. And I think that's really helped me coming back at the start of this year and pre-camp and stuff. I just feel like stronger. So it's more in the gym, less on the ice, but still making sure I get that work in on the rink as well. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit of both. I think our whole defensive unit, we all took a step back, and then we also looked at that film there, and I think every single one of us knew immediately after the game that was not our best performance. And I think discussing it all as a team, we realized that, they were out there and Clarkson wanted it more that game. I think that was the biggest takeaway for us, is that we needed to go out the next night and we needed to make a statement as a team just for ourselves. That we needed to go out there and play to our identity and play as we know how. So it was more of just having that chip on our shoulder going into Saturday that we needed to go out and prove something. I really like Fleury's style. I like just kind of his presence too on and off the ice. He's kind of more of a loose, relaxed kind of guy, likes to joke around. So I try and emulate that a little bit to just not always be so serious in my game, and that's something that I've really changed. Going from youth hockey up to now is having to find that balance of you can't be super intense 24/7. It definitely leads to a burnout, especially with how long the season is. So just finding that happy medium of focused and still there working hard, but also taking that time to relax and kind of have fun around the team and stuff. I definitely think so, yeah. I think freshman year was definitely full of lots of challenges as far as on and off the ice with all the COVID and whatnot. And then sophomore year was obviously a lot better with some of those restrictions being pulled back, and then also having an opportunity to get in the net quite a bit more. So I feel like I've settled in pretty well as the start of this year has begun, and then I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I think it's going to be huge. Obviously, what we're able to do on the ice reflects heavily on what we're doing in the weight room, and I think that's something our team has really been focusing on this year, is making sure that we're each pushing each other when it comes to the weight room, because that's going to translate to our performances on the ice. So I think taking that extra time this summer to really work on that has helped me, and then I'm working on just carrying that through, keep pushing myself in the weight room so I can keep pushing myself on the ice. Sure. It's a little bit different. I just being the oldest goalie now, I think I was kind of the youngest for the last 2 years. So in that sense, just taking on a little bit more of that responsibility as far as communicating with my goalie partners, making sure that I'm reaching out to them, talk to them. Our incoming freshman, Maddie, making sure that she feels welcome in our little goalie gang that we have. But so that's been a little bit different, but at the same time, even last year and freshman year, I think just approaching it like you want to be the starter is like the important part. So in that sense, I don't really look at it any differently. I'm still competing for the net. It's still going to go out there and battle every practice, because you got to earn that spot every day, regardless of freshman or senior. Yeah, for sure. I know it's going to be a battle. There's no doubt about that. In our league, whether you're playing the number one ranked team in the country or you're playing St. Cloud or St. Thomas, it's going to be a battle every single game. And I think our returners as well as our newcomers are coming to know that. So I think it's just consistency is going to be huge for us this year. We can't really go out and just expect to win every game or expect to lose. Just having that consistency. We can't go out on a Friday night and get blown out 5-0 and then come back and decide we want to play the next day. So I think it's going to be taking it a shift at a time every single game and taking it a game at a time this season, and then just leaving everything we have out there on the ice.